Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another Hub 101. My name is Imani Moore, and I'm the engagement coordinator for the Austin Community Hub.
Hi, I'm Zenobia, and I'm the Community Resource Coordinator for the Austin Community Hub.
Yep. And I want to go ahead and start by introducing a little bit about who we are and what we do. The Austin Community Hub was designed to be a dedicated space where we can engage with the members of our community. So we're here to serve as a connection between Austin residents and all the services that are offered by ACT's network of partner organizations such as childcare, job training, youth programs, legal assistance, and much more.
Each of our Hub 101s gives you all an opportunity to get to know our different partners and get live answers to your questions. Hub 101s take place twice a month on Zoom and Facebook Live.
Yes, and today we continue our special Aspire series that we've been doing since the start of this year. Um, and without any further ado, today we're joined by our executive director and one of the brains behind the Aspire Center, Mr. Darnell Shields. And we're also joined by our service delivery enhancement manager, Ms. Sandra Diaz. And they're both going to talk to you about the origins of the hub, its growth, why it exists today, and as always, we'll end the Q&A. We'll end the presentation with the Q&A session. So feel free to drop any questions that you have in the Q&A box in the Zoom. And if you're watching from Facebook Live, please don't hesitate to drop those questions in the chat. Again, thank you all for being here. Got another goodie for you, and the floor is yours. I'll pass it over to Sandy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Imani. Um, Before I start, I want to note that we've been doing Hub 101s for a few years now, and this is the first time that we're actually focusing on our team. So I just want to give the team a shout out before we even start because, you know, for the first time ever, you're actually going to hear from us to learn more about what we do, which is really cool for us. We're used to being in the background. So this is a big deal. So we're here today. Well, I want to start off by saying welcome to everybody. We're so glad that you're here. Um, Today, we want to provide you all with a little more information about who we are, what we do, um, and give you a deeper understanding into like the evolution of where we're going. As Imani explained, the Austin Community Hub was designed to be a dedicated space where we can engage with members of community. We serve as a connection between Austin residents and the services offered by the network partner and organizations. Um, but the hub really started to make sure that no individual was falling through the cracks. So a lot of our work revolves around a person and helping the whole person, not just a piece of the person. So if a person comes to us and they want services for like job placement, we want to better understand that individual's needs and be able to connect them to additional services that they might need. Because as we all know, when you're struggling sometimes, or when you need a little extra support sometimes, you don't have a list of things that you need ready to go. So a lot of our job is revolves around that radical hospitality piece of restorative justice, where we want to have the person be comfortable in talking to us and letting us know everything that they need in due time. So if we go to the next slide. So why the hub matters. The hub matters. The biggest reason why we talk about the hub and the whole reason that we were created was for the community, because the community matters, the hub matters. It's a space that was built for community where we can connect, grow, and rise together as like one. So when we say like that the hub matters, it matters because the Austin community and the residents of this community matters. So here I wanted to just like show you guys a picture of some of our great events and activities that we've had where we bring community together of all ages and give people like the opportunity to get to know us and get to know our partners, get to know each other. So as we get started, we want to talk about the roots. How did the hub get started? Where did we come from? What do we do? And I wanted to bring in a very special guest for us who's been with the organization forever and is one of the reasons why the hub was started. So I'm going to welcome our executive director, Darnell Shields, to give us a little bit more of a history lesson for the hub.
Thank you, Sandra, and good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be joining the Hub team here for this Hub 101 session. It definitely does warrant an additional shout out because they do sometimes always find themselves in the background, sort of the unsung heroes around supporting our community because they're working so diligently with individuals in most cases. And so very excited to be able to talk more about the hub, like why it was created, um, when did that happen, and like who's been involved of this evolution over time, and like what was the original inspiration and so forth. And so um, I'm excited to kind of share more about that. I've been at Austin Coming Together since 2010, and since inception, and so I have had the privilege of watching a number of different things evolve in our landscape, and the hub is one of them. Um, and just kind of, you know, taking us to, I'm showing a slide here that is really highlighting an effort that came about. This was maybe about 2 years after the Austin Come Together had been formally formed by the community leaders that made up our board, and at that time there were several committees. One was the Economic Development Committee, and the other was Education. It was two very prominent committees, but through the Economic Development Committee, um, a lot of the emphasis and things that came forth were really around looking at how do we focus on workforce development and address those concerns within the community. And around 2012, there was an opportunity there was basically an RFP that was brought forth by the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. And it really centered in around the need for where individuals that are seeking jobs, where they might be having challenges in terms of literacy support, in terms of skills training, right? And recognizing that there needed to be a bridge around that. And so the hub as we know it today, it actually started as that initiative to focus on bridging literacy support and job training to individuals who were interested in successfully gaining employment in one of three industry sectors, and those were advanced manufacturing, healthcare, or construction. And this project was named the Austin Empowerment Project. Uh, and as I mentioned, it was really derived from that Economic Development Committee, working with a number of different organizations, volunteers from different organizations that helped us frame that as ACT staff. And we kind of set sail, focused on that, applying for, responding to that RFP in hopes that we would secure the funding to be able to bring this effort forward. And you can kind of see sort of the logic or workflow that was imagined for this in the slide. Um, Interestingly enough, while we were unsuccessful in attaining the funding award, um, the great thing was we did see the value in continuing to convene the collective, which um, that we formed to pursue the opportunity, that was brought to us. And so we've continued to work through, what it could look like to be able to power this effort forward. And um, that actually culminated into, in 2013, the group later becoming known as the Austin Workforce Collaborative. And their efforts were primarily dedicated to creating pathways to living wage careers um, for Austin's unemployed and underemployed workers. They also recognized the increased challenge of connecting residents to training and employment opportunities and in the construction trades and healthcare. As I mentioned, those three sectors were initially the sectors that were being sought after. But again, this group, as time went on, they really started to recognize where the challenges were, whether it were being different barriers that individuals face that just weren't conducive for them to be able to take part in. Maybe it was um, higher barriers to entry in terms of being justice involved and those types of things, or just lack of training, availability of training opportunities locally in the area. And so in 2014, the AWC, they actually tapped some researchers at the Dominican University to survey the status of advanced manufacturing training programs serving Austin's residents and manufacturers because it may be known, and maybe some of you may know this or maybe not, but the Austin community is actually bordered on three of its borders by manufacturing districts. And so there was a great presence in terms of employers in this landscape that provide opportunity for employment um, in the field of advanced manufacturing. And so that, along with looking at the data in terms of the field being one that was lower barrier to entry, which could create more opportunity for individuals that may have certain challenges, really move this group in the direction of partnering with Dominican to provide and do a research study that could really help validate moving in this direction. And so that study was released, and it did sort of confirm the need and the opportunity of moving in this direction to be able to build more infrastructure for a pathway for individuals to gain access to careers in manufacturing. And so in 2015, this actually led to determination to develop a coordinated recruitment intake referral system called Austin Career Connect, which would basically help to fill critical gaps in services for job seekers and the AWC member organizations that were focused on advanced manufacturing, whether it be through training or through providing soft skills or other types of supports that would allow an individual to successfully go along that path. And, as this time sort of progressed, go to the next slide. As this time sort of progressed, throughout this sort of evolution or transition, right, in this journey, there were many different organizations that participated as partners. In some cases, there was the City of Chicago, CPS, the city colleges. A lot of this work was being resourced by JP Morgan Chase at the time, which was a seed funder for Austin Coming Together in the early years, as well as groups like Manufacturing Renaissance, Jane Addams Resource Corporation, the Westside Health Authority, even some of the churches, Friendship Community Development Corporation, New Moms, and then there were several different organizations that were actually even located downtown, maybe sort of outside of the community in terms of Safer Foundation and Care of Chicago, Inspiration Corporation, and even some in our neighboring suburb communities like the Erie Neighborhood House. But again, it was a very collaborative group, a large collective that were all focused on these individuals, those types of opportunities that could be available. And even to the degree where you can see where we even had our own publication at one point in time in 2015 to really kick things off because it was all about recruitment. It was all about getting the word out and, just sort of a virtual space because it was saw or thought that, hey, people needed to be more aware that these opportunities existed and that there was some support to be able to move past different barriers if you were seeking this as a potential employment opportunity for yourself. And so, you know, over the years, from 2015 on into maybe for the next several years, this initiative went forth. We found ourselves in positions with support of funders to be able to hire staff where we could really deepen sort of the outreach and the organization and coordinating with these agencies. And, that really allowed us to be able to pilot this to start to come to understand and learn, from community, from what we were hearing with folks that we were working with. And so, just thinking about this sort of growth through the evolution, from the Austin Empowerment event starting up in May 2013 on into these different years where this effort really kind of went through different evolution. It ultimately, we ended up learning some things that led to its, where it is now, and how it actually became the Austin Community Hub. And just want to highlight a couple of things, that we learned in that process. And so after several years of implementing the Career Connect, right, one of the things that we really took away from it, and this was probably primarily the first thing, right? It was this, concentration on advanced manufacturing sector. While that was a really great way to get the effort off the ground, we had a lot of data helping to validate, like moving in that direction. We soon discovered, as we were doing that, as viable as an option as it is, not everyone is interested in advanced manufacturing, right? And so definitely knew that um, still needed to have uh, actual pathways, actual um, ways to be able to set someone or line someone to other routes that led to other industries based on people's interests. And so, that was something that, we had to contend with. Secondly, a great number of clients required assistance with gaining access to other wraparound services besides literacy support, right? As I mentioned in the beginning, there was a very distinct focus around the literacy deficits that were acting as a barrier for individuals to go into some of these more specialized where there's credentialized skill sets and training that's needed in order to be able to actually be employed in some of these living wage careers, these different types of jobs at these different industries, whether it be advanced manufacturing, healthcare, or construction. And so that was something that we noted, right? We learned that these, without addressing these barriers, a lot of people won't be able to successfully enroll in a job training program or even retain enrollment that could potentially successfully lead them to that employment. And lastly, we had sort of having a virtual presence only didn't allow for our team to build the relationships necessary to best serve the community. I think as you heard Sandra talk about, the community is the primary interest of importance, right? And the hub values the community values the hub. It's has to be one and the same. And so in order to do that, you have to be in relationship with the community. And it's hard to make someone feel at home without being in space with them. And so we found this to be it's necessary when seeking to build trust, because if you're going to truly be able to help support someone and walk alongside them, um, that actually happens in space. And so that's one of the reasons, or at least all three of those, are several of the reasons why in 2018, um, we at ACT restructured our approach to service delivery enhancement. Next slide. Service delivery enhancement by providing a physical space to welcome residents and service providers into opportunities for relationship building that can lead to warm connections to information and or resources that these organizations may have, and so this is really what brought about the ideal and the opportunity and the place of the Austin Community Hub. Now, along with that, during that time, Austin Coming Together is also growing in our own capacity to where we became the owners of the building that we were leasing space in. And so it just, all these things converge to really bring an opportunity for us to be able to now heighten this ideal of connecting people to the resources they need to get along a successful pathway to a career and on into being stable to generate wealth. And that was, the timing was great. And so we were able to do that. And we actually were able to receive resources from a number of different funders and groups like IFF and others to actually renovate our space to accommodate, create a custom space to accommodate communities, our interest in being able to serve community in this way, and again create this really welcoming space. And I'd like to showcase this picture because that was literally opening day when we had our new hub coordinator that was brought on staff, as well as now being able to welcome community into a space that had a counseling room. It had space for computers to be able to do different types of assistance in terms of resume and things like that. Again, really helping to establish that this space in Austin Coming Together and the hub is here for you as community. And so this is who the hub is today. And I'm going to turn it back over to Sandra so she can talk a bit more about what all of that looks like now and where is it headed.
Awesome. Thank you, Darnell. So the hub today, we continue to be rooted in restorative justice. We offer a welcoming, inclusive space where we offer support and no judgment. We're dedicated to helping individuals achieve their greater quality of life through care, connection, and community. We connect individuals with holistic services that foster well-being, growth, and stability. We pow- we're powered by strong partnerships and meaningful community engagement. And we bridge gaps in access, helping people to move forward towards purpose, self-sufficiency, and a deeper sense of community. Sorry. All of this goes to say that, the hub continues to work for community residents to help connect them to resources. We have this really great network of service providers that do work in Austin and around Austin to help support a person. So while we may not offer a service in-house, we know of a partner, we have a connection to a partner that has that service that we can connect a person to. And that's amazing to be able to have, because that means that we can actually find a resource for a person without them having to do the homework or like struggle to find that resource. So sometimes I think of us as like a dictionary of services for the community because we know what's out there, and if we don't know what's out there, we know someone, and if we don't know someone, we're going to find you a resource because that's just like historically what we've been trained to do and just do all the time. So the vision for the future for the hub, sorry, allergy season is upon us. So the vision for the future for the hub, we are going to continue to build those seamless referral networks to connect community participants with those needed services to establish that system of service coordination. That means that we really want to be able to make those referrals to these partners when individuals come to the hub. And the biggest reason why these partnerships are so important to us, they've always historically been important to ACT and to the hub. When I think about like this vision for the future as we're getting ready to move to Aspire, I think about all of our numbers. We're tripling our numbers. The hub is going to be seeing way more participants because we're going to be way more involved in, well, closer into community. I always make fun of our current building space because we're we're kind of hidden away, but we're actually going to be more center into community, which is really cool, really exciting, also scary at the same time, but exciting beats out scary. So our numbers are going to more than triple. Um, and we are really looking forward to being able to connect the people to all of these wonderful partners that we have and to build stronger relationships with more partners to make even more referrals as our numbers are doubling. There's an estimated 4,900 people that will be taking advantage of the Aspire Center a year. Um, that's over. That's almost 5,000 people that are going to be taking from Austin that are going to be coming to this center. So get ready, get excited for what's to come there. We are continuing to build partnerships. We do have some goals currently. And with these partnerships, we're aligning with city colleges to be able to support credentialing and career pathways. We're collaborating with Comcast to expand tech access and digital tools. And we're working with Skillit to boost adult digital literacy through co-led initiatives. And we're just looking for more partnerships to be able to bring in more supports for community at Aspire. We are co-assessing the needs with the other tenants that you guys have all met through in the last couple months. But we're co-assessing the needs that the tenants to identify and address gaps in services. What that means is that we're continuously learning from each other to be able to find additional resources and additional supports that are needed for the community that we work with. And we're looking to improve communications across partners to ensure holistic participant supports. The reason why we want these partnerships to work with these organizations is because we want to be able to support the person as much as possible through any obstacle that they are facing. And that's why, it's so important. That's why the work that we do is so important. And that's why it's so important to learn from the residents. You guys inform us in your needs, in wants, in goals. So the more that you communicate with us, the more that you come to us, the more we learn, and we're constantly looking to fill that gap. I can tell you right now that this great team that I have that I'm a part of, we're constantly looking for housing resources because we know and we've heard from community that housing they want to know more about, that they want to be better connected to. So our biggest homework assignment right now is to find more resources around that. So when we think about like this move to Aspire, I think about how all of this is going to be amplified uh, for us. It's going to be more work for us, but it's so exciting to know that um, we're going to get more of your voices coming to us, and we're going to just have that much of a stronger network to connect you all to. I ramble, sorry. So, how do you connect to the hub and to all of these wonderful services? You'll see here we share our flyer all the time when we do when they do this presentation. You can connect to the hub now. You don't have to wait to get connected to services, to any services, and when a service opens, you can connect to services now. All you have to do is give us a call or send us an email, and we're going to make sure we follow up with you. We do have like a process to how we connect with individuals because, again, a lot of what we do is get to know a person really well to be able to better understand what their needs are. So when you come to the hub, you'll do an intake. We'll make referrals. There's a whole process flow that we have for you guys as individuals, including like consent assessment, referrals, action planning, all of those fun things to better serve you as an individual. But you don't have to. Again, I can't stress enough that you don't have to wait until Aspire Center opens to get connected to any service that you might be in need of. All you got to do is give us a call or shoot us an email. I think this is my last slide. I want to make sure that you guys meet the whole team. I know you guys are familiar with Imani and Synovia because they do these Hub 101s more regularly, but I want to make sure to introduce you guys to everyone on our team. So you guys all probably know Imani. He's our engagement coordinator. So if you guys know of community meetings or want to know of any events happening, he's your guy. Miss Dolly Sherman is our engagement specialist. She works a lot with community alongside Imani. A lot of focus with restorative justice and connecting young people to partner organizations and additional services, and their parents too. Clara, you guys never really see her on Hub 101s. She's our behind the scene gal. She's our social service coordinator. A lot of her work revolves connecting partners to the hub. So she's well versed in who our partners are, what they do. She communicates with them on the back end, and we're really excited to have her on our team. And then Synovia, she's on this call. She'll say hi in a bit too. She's our community resource coordinator, and she works one-on-one with community residents to better understand their needs and connect them to those services, making those referrals. She's the one who's constantly calling you guys if you aren't following through on your goals to make sure that we can course correct or provide additional services if needed. And then there's myself. I have the honor of being able to manage this wonderful team of really great people who work and really make the hub what it is. I will say, if anyone is looking for a job, we are currently hiring. You saw the numbers on a few slides ago. Our numbers again are expected to like triple when we move to Aspire. So we are hiring. So if anyone is interested in working with us, please visit our website and you can find how to apply there. But yeah, that's a little bit more about the hub, the work we do, and our services.
Thank you, Sandra. That was great. Thank you as well, Darnell. We got a lot of good information there, taking us back to our roots. We now will start with the Q&A. Again, if you're watching from Facebook Live, don't hesitate to drop those questions in the chat. And if you're watching on Zoom, go ahead and type those in the Q&A box. And we'll kick it off with the first question. How can an agency refer someone to the Aspire Center?
This is fun because my whole team, most of my team is here, so I can answer this, or I can have one of you guys answer this. But I'll go ahead and I'll answer this one. So if an agency is interested in connecting a referral to the hub, you can follow the same instructions by either calling us or sending us an email. If you're not already associated with the hub, if you're an organization and you're already associated with the hub, you have like Synovia's contact information and you can make a direct referral to her. If you're an organization that's interested in being a referral partner for the hub, you can contact Clara, and Clara will ask you a lot of questions about the work that you do and tell you what steps to take. But if you're an organization who's looking to connect a resident, again, similar to how we connect participants to the hub, we would ask you to do that.
Will there be any opportunity to look at the space to rent?
I believe that is a question that I can answer. So currently, um, space in the Aspire Center in terms of for tenants, um, it's at full occupancy in terms of the first phase of this development. So the first and the second floor of the property was a part of that first phase, and with the development of this site, the tenants that are currently occupying this space have all been involved in this development, um, over a number of years. So while the Aspire Center is opening this year, this project has been in development for probably more than 7 years. And so, um, and with that, actually building out, um, what services, what providers would actually be within that site to do so as a part of its value proposition. So that's why it's kind of opening fully occupied, so that day one when it opens, all those services will be there. Now, there is a second phase to this project that involves the third floor of the property that was not uh, developed or built out in this initial phase of the project. And so there could be opportunity for spaces on the um, third level to be available at a future point in time. But that's contingent on when that development phase could actually start. And currently, right now, we don't have a outlook on exactly when that could start. But as we are advising everyone to, if you're interested in the Aspire Center, whether it be for the services there or for utilization of space and what have you, we are encouraging everybody to connect with us. Our grand opening is coming up in June, which we'll mention the date in a bit. But we're really encouraging folks to connect with us and get connected where we can be able to have you on our listserv where we send out regular updates around any things that we're progressing on, where these opportunities might become available. Currently, there are no rental opportunities in terms of space as a tenant right now. Now, if an individual is looking to, say, reserve space for, say, conference rooms and things like that, we actually will be rolling out an entire process that'll be facilitated through our front desk, that we'll be able to share more detailed information about upon our grand opening. So it's going to be very important to come to that grand opening where you can get access to sort of the how to be able to leverage this center, for your own personal needs, right? Whether you're a partner or whether you're a local resident. We have been working diligently around creating a process that will allow for stakeholders to take advantage of the space, and whether it be the some of the event space that's there or some of the conference sort of lobby space as well. So again, we'll be sharing more detail around that as to how to manage that during our grand opening, which is happening on June 19th. June 19th, Thursday, June 19th. So save the date, and we'll highlight it a bit more as we round out this presentation.
Yes, you'll be hearing that date a lot. June 19th. Don't forget. All right, we have another question, and it is: Are Are there any requirements to be a hub participant?
It's a great question. No real requirements to be a hub participant. We typically work with the Austin community. It's the community that we're in and we're most familiar with. But we try not to turn anyone away. If you're from a different community, we might just refer you to an organization where you can receive services a little bit closer to home, depending on like what you're looking for. Now, while we have no like requirements or restrictions for who we work with, one of the reasons why we really want to get to know a participant better is because when we make referrals, some of the organizations that we work with do have specific program requirements that they have to meet. So we don't want to make a referral without like fully um, understanding if a person qualifies for services or not, because the last thing we want to do is have a person go to an organization that we refer them to and they don't qualify. So yeah, long story short, the hub, typically we just say Austin residents would be our requirement, but again, we try not to turn anyone away.
Does someone have to make an appointment to meet with the hub?
Appointments are not required, but they are welcome. We do accept walk-ins. So yeah, individuals can just walk in. But an appointment is a preferred way, but not required.
Great, great answer. The next question is, does the hub, oh, I'm sorry, are there any resources that the hub can't help?
That the hub can't help with. This is an interesting question. Um, we always say we're going to do our best to try and connect you to resources. There are a few resources that are a little bit more tricky. I will say off the back of my mind, one thing that I can think of is sometimes we get referrals from organizations not from the community for like housing because they think we're a housing agency. We're not a housing agency. So we typically look to our housing partners to provide those resources to people. So I would say that that's like, we're not going to provide a direct service to a person. So I'm not going to find you, unfortunately, I can't find you a house. Um, but I'm going to do my best to connect you to an organization that might be able to help you get housed. So housing is always like has historically been a little bit tricky for us because sometimes I don't think people fully understand what we do. I'm going to welcome Synovia's input on this as well in case you can think of anything else.
Yeah, particularly housing, but I do think it's important to note that we don't have any, like Sandra stated, we don't have any resources in-house. So they're all referral based with our partners. So that's why it's important that we do the intake so I can learn more about the needs that that you have or like restrictions that someone may have that they may not be able to qualify for a particular program, but we do our best to try to find someone who does have that service or find someone who may know someone.
Thank you.
And that leads us to our next question. Does the hub provide services themselves? Sanofi, do you want to just go ahead and take
that? Yeah. So like I previously stated, we don't have any services in house. We're all referral based with our partners and going into the Aspire Center with our anchor tenants, we'll have more access to provide you with services. Like we can just walk you over down the hallway to one of our anchor tenants, but no services in house.
I will say that that's going to be so much fun to be able to do, to walk somebody down to like JARC, BMO, when we're connecting them, because right now we're kind of far from everyone, but being able to like offer those services in-house and like more, right? Because the hope is to be able to continue to offer these Hub 101s, but then also offer, like, invite partners to come in and provide workshops for community residents. That's super exciting for me to think about, because I think we've talked about it for a while. So to actually be able to do it, I'm really looking forward to being able to offer that for community.
Yeah, I'm excited about that as well, Sandra. It is going to be powerful to be able to actually accompany someone down the hall to one of our partners to gain access to some of those services, like in real time, right there immediately, and leverage Axe Network in terms of partners that can bring other services on site, you know, periodically uh, through our the space that we inhabit, as well as the relationship to the center to leverage center space. So it's definitely going to be an expansion of what's available, what's accessible to community in our neighborhood, and literally, like, in folks' backyard, which is very different than what the experience has been, or at least I believe has been for a lot of community residents when they're looking for some of these resources that will be available to them now through the Aspire Center.
Yeah, so our final question is, do you work with children and youth?
Sandra, you're muted.
Thank you. So yes, it's a fun question you ask. We do help. We do help connect parents to like services for their children. So So, for example, if a parent is looking for childcare services, we help connect them to those childcare services. If there's a youth that is looking to connect to like after school programming, tutoring, mental health services, we have the partnerships to be able to connect individuals. We also, I mentioned one of our team members, Ms. Dolly Sherman. We do some work with youth around like restorative justice and helping them get like summer employment. And will like youth is such a big like gap. Like when I think about it, not gap, but like it it extends really long, really, like I think I've seen like 16 to 24. At Aspire, we're able to work with individuals 18 to 24 to connect them to the services. Again, it depends on the partner and what the age restrictions are for the referrals that we make. So yeah, we do work with children through their families.
Great, great. And I do have one last question. And while I'm asking this, if you have any other last minute questions, please drop them in the chat. Uh, Interested to know from your perspective, Darnell, what was the climate of the Austin community back in 2013 when these things kind of start to get on a roll and kind of birth what we have today? Like what was the environment and climate like for the stars to even align and let these things happen, so to speak?
Oh, wow, that's an interesting question. Interestingly enough, during that time, I'd say we were still sort of coming off of a number of different, recent challenges. Um, just thinking about, just like short of prior to 2010, there was a lot of issue in the community and a lot of aftermath around the housing crisis, in terms of the housing market crashing and all of that. And so, that created a lot of uncertainty in the community, in terms of the population, um, you know, income issues and all of those things, right? And so that being the case, that heavily impacted like our schools. When you think about in 2013, that's when um, all of these the 50 schools were closed in the city of Chicago. And so, if you just think about the types of challenges that we were enduring during that time, really, homelessness, the housing crisis, um, issues in terms of schools being underutilized and being closed down. Um, Even at one point, Austin High School was actually closed for a few years, and then it was during that time it had been reopened, but it had been reopened as a hybrid of three schools that was there, which one happened to be the effort that was focused on career training in terms of advanced manufacturing through Manufacturing Renaissance and the donation of Water Safer Faucet, helping to partner with the city of Chicago to equip that school with that, um, you know, uh, training in the trades. And so, while there were, some pretty large scale, broad issues. There was also a lot of, in terms of the Austin community, the resiliency you could see always demonstrated in our community in terms of how community was innovative around thinking, how do we address these issues, which again brought about, the opportunities for, Austin coming together, being formed around that time and other developments that were taking shape as well that ultimately led to the Career Connect and the Workforce Collaborative and all those agencies that were a part of that and other initiatives in say education and public safety and others, right? Trying to address all the concerns, but the landscape was definitely tumultuous. It was definitely a tumultuous landscape, and especially around employment and at that particular time, I believe unemployment was uh, higher than the city's average in the Austin community as well. And so just prevalent issues to contend with. Um, and not to say that that's not the case. We're not dealing with similar situations now, but it's just Austin is no stranger to adversity and we were contending with it then. I like to think that we found ways to try to help move things forward, and we've continued to do that over time. But I do feel like as a community, we're becoming more proficient at addressing the concerns and the issues, and as our community gains more autonomy in leading the transformation for itself, I really believe that we're going to get to a point where um, these solutions that we're coming up with will be, more sustainable and lasting to really, create the change and now transform people's lives, for forever and for the foreseeable future in the right direction.
Do you offer any technology programs such as technical training?
So we do have partners that do, depending on like what kind of tech industry you're looking to get into, we do have partners that do offer like training certifications around that. My recommendation would be for you to connect with us, and we'll be able to get some more information to identify a partner that is suited for you.
Definitely. Yeah, we have a lot of relationships with different groups throughout the city that are either through the public education or other nonprofits that provide uh, support in these areas. And so, highly recommend whoever asks the question connect with Sandra and the team so that they can help kind of walk through what's available, right? What's on the menu, and so they can align it with your interests. Because those partners, they are here, they are ready, to receive referrals from us. And they welcome it, and they're literally sitting, waiting on at the ready to serve.
Great, great. I think that was the last question officially. And we have some things here. First off, thank you for the great presentation. Thank you, everybody out there, for those great questions. Hope we were able to answer those for you today. And this is not meant to be a one-off. This is just the beginning of the conversation. So please don't hesitate to reach out to the hub. We can connect you and hopefully answer any other questions that you have. And then this is just a reintroduction to the other Aspire Center tenants that will be in the building and the Hub 101s that we've done since January. So starting at the top of the year, we had the kickoff with Darnell again, just explaining everything about the Aspire Center, kind of telling that story from how we got here to the Aspire Center. Then in in February, we had BMO, who will also be an anchor tenant at the Aspire Center. And in March, we had Westside Health Authority. And then just last month, we had JARC, James Adams Resource Corporation. So on your free time, please go and check those Hub 101s out. I think we have the link just dropped in the chat to everyone. So take that link and go and check those out. And hopefully that can give you a better understanding of what those other organizations provide as well. And don't forget, like you heard a few times earlier, June 19th, please say today is the Aspire Center grand opening. I hope to see you all out there.
That is right. Save the date, and we'll be following up with more information on what the itinerary will be for that date, on what you can expect to engage in, because this is definitely going to be audaciously big for our community. Huge milestone to reclaim our asset in terms of the former school that was closed to now be repurposed into a center that will once again serve the community, but in a very different way, and in a way that is very timely and responsive to what our community needs and requires. And so we are super excited about that. We look forward and hope date. And please frequent our website and our social media pages for updates, because we will be sharing more information as we get closer to that date on sort of what you all can expect, and some of the speakers and different activities that'll be happening, because it definitely will be a celebration for sure, and an opportunity for folks to get up close and personal with the Aspire Center, that'll now be changing our landscape forever.
Thank you for that, Darnell. And then I think we have another link in the chat, so you can go ahead and register for our next Hub 101 right now. Hope to see you all there. Share it out with your friends, family, and everybody else in your network. So know you want to bless us with a word.
Like we mentioned earlier, the Hub is here to connect you to resources, even if something isn't the right fit for you. As the community resource coordinator, I work directly with participants of the Hub, so I'll be following up with you if you requested additional resources or Hub services in your registration form. I'll be following up with you to better understand what you're looking for so I can connect you with the resources or services